good evening.
Goal.
Or afternoon. Like, who knows what time people are watching this? Welcome to another edition of Table Talk with Half Send.
Is this like easy listening?
We're grateful you're here.
I feel like we're on NPR right now.
I'm very uncomfortable.
You
could
sit down, have a seat.
You could cut the room
Take a load
with
off.
a butter knife with how thick it is in here.
All right, so today I want to talk about something that I am wildly
Why did you just say interested in it?
interested in.
All right.
Words are hard.
This isn't a sex thing, is it?
No.
You're sure?
No. Space.
The final frontier?
I am
beat me to the joke.
wildly interested in everything outer space.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have custom painted shoes with nebulas on them, and they're my favorite shoes I own. I get all my tattoos covered up with like space stuff. I love space. So,
Wow, I didn't need to know all that.
I know, right? But now you do, against your will.
All right.
Unwanted knowledge is the worst knowledge.
And unfortunately, the only knowledge that Gingy usually gives.
Yes, that is true. So the thing that I want to talk about today is something that I read about over last weekend, that NASA has found an asteroid between Mars and Jupiter that is made almost entirely of precious metals. Gold, platinum, iron, and nickel. And this asteroid is said to be worth enough precious metals to make everyone on Earth a billionaire. Not that that would actually happen.
Right.
But
because if everybody's billionaire, nobody's a billionaire.
we want it.
Right. So
Precious.
that's kind of the gist of the topic. The asteroid's speculated to be some kind of remnant from something called a protoplanet. Apparently was mostly disintegrated during the formation of our solar system. And it's just floating out there.
There's this one dude on this asteroid. I'm taking my asteroid and leaving.
I can imagine the NASA conversation.
I'm going to Earth with all.
They're like, hey, we got this sighting of this type of metal asteroid. Can you tell us what kind of metal? We got a specialist on the phone. What kind of metal is it?
Precious metal. The precious metal.
Oh, God. Please stop. So there's a mission set in August of next year, 2022. They plan to probe this asteroid, but not mine it. This is a purely scientific mission.
So they're going to shove something up its butt, but they're not going to mine it.
Yeah, they're going to go to an asteroid made out of gold and go, yeah, that looks like gold.
Well, it seems as though they would have already probed it to know that it's made of said things.
Right.
So what they've done is that they've looked at it through special imagery, and they know that through heat maps, X-ray, all that stuff, it's giving off the type of radiation that these metals give off.
Okay.
That's how they know that it's made of what it is. Because like gold reflects radiation,
right?
And if you look at it with whatever the fuck they look at it with, it will reflect that radiation.
In my
back.
mind, I picture this big plastic glove just flying towards it from Earth with like two fingers, you know.
Did I say
just
two?
Extended.
I say two. Better make that three.
Two guys up front piloting it. And
Aerosmith playing in the background.
It's like a Mickey Mouse glove.
Oh, time to get this precious metal. Oh, that's definitely made of gold. I know because I saw it with my special scanners.
What do you think, Goofy?
Oh, yup. Porsche.
Goofy, the X-rays say it's made out of gold.
Oh
Oh boy. In total, this asteroid, I know that I said that it was enough to make everyone on Earth a billionaire, but just to like quantify that in like a number.
Yeah.
So everyone here knows what a million is.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
Yeah.
If you are a millionaire,
It's
you
a-
are set.
It's
Yeah,
a
for life.
thousand. It's 1,000 million.
Unless you're very irresponsible. Yes,
So
you're
then
set.
then you have a billion, and then a trillion, and our country is several trillion in debt.
Quadrillion.
And then there's quadrillion, and then this asteroid is worth 10,000 quadrillion dollars worth of precious metals.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
I just
So-
want a necklace made.
So 7 billion people on this planet would all get roughly somewhere in the ballpark of $1 billion if it were to be equally distributed for its value.
Which isn't conceivable, like, because then the value of the dollar would...
Right. Like
Yeah.
you could, like, let's say NASA mined this thing to completion
Mhm.
and they had 10,000 quadrillion dollars worth of precious metals. Precious metals wouldn't be worth a single penny.
Mhm.
Like, it would never
So-
happen.
So
That
do you
or
have,
they'd
like,
raise
a-
the cost
yeah.
of living up exponentially.
What's the actual like comparative size of this? Like, if you were to put it next to something, what's...
If you were to put it next to something of comparable size, that would be Greece.
Wow. So bigger
The,
than Texas.
the country of Greece.
Okay. How long would it take to, like, if they did mine it? Can you imagine how long? We would all be dead by the time they
Yeah.
mined it fully.
So do they have any information like on how they do said probing?
Not that I've read.
I mean,
So-
and by probing, I imagine like physically, like they're physically going to probe this thing. Like
Right.
they're actually going to.
That's what I think too.
Make
Like, they're going to try to
contact.
land on it somehow. Like, that in and of itself is badass. Like, you're just flying up next to a asteroid that's hurling through the void of space, and you go, "Yeah, I'm going to land on that."
That's and
Yeah, that's a mystery in
How-
itself,
how
how they're going to do that.
so for this to be in a conversation of said probing, it ain't that far away then, right?
It is between the orbit of Mars and Jupiter. So it will be, I think they said it was a 2-year,
A little far.
it's a little over 2-year mission. Like, it'll take, I would assume, over a year to get there.
Okay. The other thing I kind of find interesting is that it shares minerals and
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, these are there's nothing special on it. They're all the same relatable precious metals that we have here.
Right.
Like,
So,
there's no
like,
like
they can't,
there's no vibranium.
right.
Adamantium.
They don't have,
Inf metal.
they don't have the adamantium lens for their camera.
And for all we know, it could be a different metal that's not from this earth giving off the same
Right.
gold could.
Right. So this thing is being observed, and from what they know, they think that it's gold, titanium, nickel. Which, and here's the weird thing: there is a large quantity of the metal on this asteroid that is iron that makes up probably about 70% of its value. So, my question for the both of you is, in a perfect world situation where the concept of if everyone was a billionaire, nobody would be, if everyone just had $1 billion, nobody needed help, you didn't have any responsibilities that you had to worry about, in a perfect world, what would you do with $1 billion in your bank account?
Batmobile.
Batmobile?
So this isn't if everyone had $1 billion. If we just personally had $1 billion.
Yeah, if you had $1 billion and there was no need for anyone else to receive any of it,
There's there's only a couple of things.
Like play money, basically.
Yeah, like if you had $1 billion in play money, what would you do?
Selfishly, there's only a handful of things in the world that I'm just like, yeah, that's on my bucket list of like, obviously, all of us can agree we'd all have a nice house, whatever that is, just a nice house, some cars. Then beyond that, that's when the conversation starts to change beyond the house and cars.
Beyond the necessities.
You're right.
Yeah.
Then it starts to be, so it's whatever standard you set for those. Like, is it, I mean, you can get into hundreds of millions of dollars for a home. So it's whatever bar you set for whatever floats your boat as far as your domicile is. So for you, it could be, maybe you get a $600,000 house and you're straight. And then maybe for Shane, he wants something more in the 50 mil range or you know what I mean? Like, who knows? And then after you get a couple cars, it's how much do I put in the bank that I feel like I'm going to live off of this much? And then what is, beyond that, what is disposable?
Mm.
And I think that's where the question is, the disposable part. After you checked out the book, how much is left, and then what kind of things are on the table for you. And you know what? I think a large chunk of what I deem disposable out of $1 billion would be, I would be inclined to see what I could do to change the world. Somewhere.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
agree.
mean? Like the idea of dying and not having done anything beyond yourself bothers me. So like let's say this other hypothetical. Let's say on a smaller scale, over time, our channel grows and it starts producing income to where, you know, lifestyles change and there's same situation where there's disposable income. I would feel like it would be a tremendous oversight to not do things that would cultivate. There's just so much you could do if you
Basically, kind.
right.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, debate. Yeah, benefit.
Now that's like kind of that's awesome, but like what I was saying. So like let's in this theory or in this hypothetical, everyone on Earth also has $1 billion, and like there's nothing, there's no depreciation. It's just everyone has $1 billion. Like
I don't
nobody
think that
needs
could,
help.
Yeah, I guess. If you imagine that though, like if everyone had $1 billion, so many dynamics would change though that the world would be, if you took a moment and just thought about how many things would change if your this digital currency, if there's no incentive for anyone for the value of trading it. So let's say this, people that produce food, it would have to be your passion. Like,
Yeah.
the incentive for people to work or to drive our economy would be off the table. There'd be so many, man, the world would be in chaos.
Yeah, it'd be chaotic.
So this is what would happen. Nobody would have to work anymore. You would have to want to.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just so many, but that would change so many things too, that very quickly, the dynamic of what that $1 billion is worth too would change like real quick.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier.
Because like we were saying, like let's say if there were all the restaurants closed because there's no incentive, I mean, you'd go through this really weird stage of where like people would lose their drive to like want to work, but then the value of currency would change, and then I don't know, it'd just be a really I'm sure there's probably a video out there where somebody's broken this down, what would happen if everyone had $1 billion. I mean, if you're thinking on a smaller scale, if everyone had $1 million,
right,
I'm sure it would just be chaos.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, isn't it weird though to think it'd be chaos?
Imagine
It'd be a bad thing.
Imagine Imagine a scenario where none of that happens, where everyone just has $1 billion and no like negative repercussions. Everyone's just fucking ecstatic. And they still go do their jobs. They still go do everything. And everything, for the most part, is the same, except everyone's just absolutely loaded. Like beyond their wildest dreams. I would go and buy a castle in Ireland.
Okay. Bold move.
See, I feel like with this scenario, you have to look at it from a point of view that the $1 billion would be segregated to like us or whatever for this.
Yeah.
If it's that everyone would get $1 billion, just so many things would be where it'd be a distraction. Like, would it be safe to spend money then? I don't know. It'd be this really.
Okay.
There's no incentive to take money
So
or trade goods because everybody has the money.
So back to how we were talking about it before then. If it were only the three of us,
yeah,
and you're altruistic, is that the word I'm thinking of? Is that the right word? Altruistic, like doing good?
Chances are no.
Probably not. Anybody who's listening, comment, correct me.
Can't wait for that comment.
I know. Noble causes.
okay.
Beyond that, what would you do with the fun money?
You want selfishly.
Yeah, he wants play. He's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with this money to play with?
What's your Ireland castle?
Okay, in full, like, honestly, after I have whatever my inclination is that would float my boat for a house and automobiles beyond that, I feel like I would be mostly fulfilled. Like there really isn't a ton beyond that where I'm like, oh my gosh, I would go and boom, 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 and buy all these selfish, like I would really probably try to do as many good things. It would be mostly philanthropy. I really don't feel like beyond that, after I have the handful of things, like, man, it's funny. I can't think of like a selfish list of shit I'd want.
Well, I can. I was dead serious when I said Batmobile, because even when I
that I say, I'm gonna see you make this awesome plan. And you look around and said, well, we don't have a Batmobile. So
all right. Also, I would probably maybe not necessarily get a jet or a plane or something, but invest in traveling, because I really don't do that much. I travel maybe out of state, like a state over, but I feel like that would be, I would do a lot of traveling, going just to go see the world. You know what I mean?
Let's take this to an extreme. Let's say the money is just for us, and let's say it's to an extreme to where money isn't even an object anymore. Like, let's say we have billions of dollars. Like let's say we're money to where we're talking extreme cases of wealth, to where let's say it's like $1 trillion if we had to put a number on it.
Right.
Okay. For me, I feel like then the conversation would change a little bit, because then I might be inclined to get a couple things that would be extreme, like
like more groceries.
Well, the first thing you said was that made me go, well, you said you'd get a jet, and the first thing I thought of was I don't know that I'd purchase a jet even if I had unlimited wealth. So I'd still use like our regular airplane services.
Right.
Would I have a helicopter? I mean, look how that worked out for Kobe Bryant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm being serious too, because I feel like sometimes that stuff should be left to the people that do it every day.
Yeah.
And
in the defense of that, like I would never like buy a jet and then try to fly it myself.
Right. No, I was saying just basically investing in
that
traveling.
Helicopter was piloted by someone,
by a professional.
But it was somebody, I believe, from what I remember, it was someone that he was like friends with. That I don't, I don't believe it was someone that was like commercially did it. It was somebody like that owned said helicopter, flew it a lot, but we're talking about maybe between the cusp of hobby and like I do this for a living. I don't.
Yeah.
That's just what I recall.
I probably should have phrased it a different way, because I wasn't saying like buy a jet or anything like that. I said possibly, but I would more invest in just, plane tickets.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at is this: there's one thing I could think that might be kind of dope.
Mm.
A yacht.
Ooh.
That'd be nice.
As soon as you said plane, I went, nope. I probably wouldn't get into anything stuff like that. I feel is wildly dangerous.
Right.
Like it has this element of like, rolling the dice. If you had somebody like, this is Johnny that flies airplanes on the
Sometimes.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas now he
bought a
works for
jet.
me as in the only time that he does stuff for me flying said jet is when I'm. It just seems like there's too many variables. But a yacht, I don't know, man. It just seems like there's some yachts I've seen where like, yeah, if money was, and I'm not even into boats. I'm not like one of those. I've never owned a boat. I'm not somebody that's like into boats. But if we're talking about like
one of those mega yachts,
like we're
with like ballrooms in it,
travel to anywhere in
with like you've purchased a ship.
Yeah. We're literally
The
like
Black
you're
Pearl.
on vacation while you're going to a vacation spot.
Yeah.
right.
You own a substantial vessel.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, another thing I would do indefinitely is I would own 2 libraries. I would own a comic book library with every and any comic that I wanted in it. I would also own a Magic the Gathering library with every card ever made.
Reading.
Playing Magic the Gathering
People
is
still read?
just reading.
It really is. I mean, it really is. You got to read the card.
It's tiny print.
I'm actually so I collected comic books when I was early teenager up until probably mid-teens. Very, very into them. Like to an extreme. Like it was my number one hobby at one point. But because of my personality, I think I'd be scared of collecting comic books again because like back then when you're young, spending hours a day reading comic books is on the table. Like if I were into the hobby of collecting comic books now, I would just be afraid of getting my day just zipping by where I'm caught up reading comic
Take it from somebody who reads full comic book storylines. It happens.
Yeah.
I can see you getting sucked into it really hard.
Yeah, I don't think at this point in my life that's a hobby that's really on the table for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and double down. I would definitely still buy a castle in Ireland.
A castle would be legit.
And I would bring Janet, my girlfriend, who is pregnant with a child. Like we would go live our best life.
You would have to become a lord.
It's weird.
That's fine.
Like I feel like I wouldn't want much, and most of my motivation would be the desire of making other people happy. I don't know. And I'm not being cheesy. I really do feel like when I imagine what it'd be like where money wasn't like there's only so much, you know what I mean? Like
I think we all would be still doing this, honestly.
Oh yeah, for sure.
If we had that money and that free time and it wasn't a burden on us for money, we would 100%.
Don't get me wrong. I'd be in Ireland, but I'll fucking send you guys some audio clips of me talking. Let's podcast.
You can afford it. You can afford a plane ticket to come over.
Yeah, that's true.
You're a billionaire.
I'll have 10,000 gigabyte internet speed.
And imagine the miles you'll accumulate.
Okay, so here's the other thing. The house, too many variables there. We probably don't even really know to an extreme, other than like daydreaming about perks of said house, whether or not it has, a basketball court inside and a moat or whatever silly stuff.
I'm at a castle. I'm
have.
getting a moat.
A moat is awesome.
But here's where there isn't really the variables. First car you would go buy.
1970 Chevelle SS with a 454.
Batmobile.
Shut up, Shane.
I'm not joking.
Because the money isn't, because we made the money a non-issue. Like, I feel like even with $1 billion, I'd still feel like I'd have reservations, but I'd still be inclined to save. That's why I had to go to this. Like even with $1 billion,
Fair.
Yeah.
But if money was like
no object,
yeah, I would probably get a Koenigsegg Regera.
I could see you driving one of those.
Like if money was just like where I could frivolously spend it and not feel like it's like this is going to set me back. You know what I mean? Because now you're talking 2.5 mil, $3 million for an automobile, which like I said, let's say I won the lottery. I'd still have to have a serious conversation with myself of, is this how people go down this rabbit hole of going bankrupt? You know what I mean? Like
it absolutely is. Like you get that money in your bank account and you're just like, how fast can I spend all? And then you forget that, oh no, I still have bills and taxes.
Yeah, in this day and age, man, it's
that's how you get all your shit repossessed.
Yeah, I mean, quite honestly, $1 million isn't a lot of money like nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays
it really isn't. There's you can like, fly. There's so many things that can, like, there are things that I get bills that I have to pay that are like, just for being a business owner, that would make you go like, wow, I just played multiple people's income in bills. There's a point in time where not now because of COVID and everything's changed, but there was a point in time where my monthly bills were like $250,000, $3 million a year.
Yeah,
$3 million a year in bills. Like when you count up payroll and light, gas, everything. When you add everything up, it used to be crazy. And obviously now, COVID.
Now imagine if you were in the same spot you are right now 30 years ago. That expense would be maybe 20% of that. Maybe.
Thanks, inflation.
Yeah.
But now think of this. Think you guys sitting upstairs. I pull in with a freaking tumbler. And I go, and a full
Batmobile.
a Batmobile, a full Batmobile, and I jump out in a bat suit, and I'm like, "Come on, boys, let's go do hood bat shit."
Hood bat.
You're the only thing that you want is a Batmobile.
No, I still want the libraries.
Oh, okay. So you want books and a Batmobile. Okay, that's fair.
You know,
I can't judge. I want a castle in Ireland. I want to put like a ton of rooms in it.
I'm a simple man.
I think making my own movie would be fun.
Oh, that would be amazing. 100%. That would probably be something I would do. Oh my god, go sign.
I would. You know what movie I would make?
What's that?
A better Thor: Dark World.
He said I would remake the Amazing Spider-Man so I could hire Andrew Garfield and then fire him immediately.
That too.
He said I would buy the rights to Spider-Man No Way Home and tell Andrew Garfield to leave.
If money was no object, I'd buy Disney.
There you go.
And then wipe Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man history.
Gingy just literally walks into Disney headquarters and goes, ha ha, with the Infinity Gauntlet and just goes...
I'd
just like that.
I'd give Sam Raimi $100 million to just on camera say, yeah, I never made a Spider-Man movie with Tobey Maguire.
Getting on that weird subject, I would, for at least one night of my life, pay Morgan Freeman to read me bedtime stories. That is another thing I would do. And that's 100% selfish, so I think that falls right in that category.
More so selfish than the castle in Ireland. You know what I would do? I would assemble the world's greatest D&D party. I would pay whoever I needed to assemble what you think is a AAA D&D party. I would put 4 more A's on it.
Turning a town into a LARP kingdom would be fun too. Now that we're going off the walls here.
I would buy at least 6 Nerf guns.
Buy a whole town. Buy a whole town, turn it into a kingdom, and then be like, here, go LARP. There's your house. You're now the blacksmith.
No, like actually, you are a blacksmith.
Into the pit with these bloodthirsty sons of war.
I think having your own community would be fun though, like a real physical community, like your own little town where you handpick the people that live there.
Yeah.
And you hook them up with everything that they'd possibly want, and you just find the best, most goodest people ever. And
I'm out.
you know what I mean? I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would
Have
actually be
control over all, just like the most, you know what I mean? Just people that you really would like want to see your days out. Like it's almost like marrying a community kind of thing, you know?
I've actually talked about that when I was younger, and it's in a smaller scale of buying a trailer park, then having all your friends move in, and then making a wall of trailers interconnected.
So you want to make a zombie apocalypse proof trailer park?
Yeah, I want to make Alexandria. That's what I want to make. Okay. But out of trailers.
Fair.
It'd be fun.
All right. Well, this was actually a lot of fun to kind of
good
go
topic,
off
man.
this tangent
Good topic.
to
Yeah, we went from space to what would you do with $1 billion?
What would you do?
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
All right, guys. Let us know what you would buy if you're in the same boat, and also the car question is on the table for everyone. Very curious what you would buy, since we've established that the house, lots of variables. The car you would buy, though, first car you would buy if money wasn't an object, and then beyond that, what you would do with the money, selfishly and philanthropy wise too. I'm actually interested in that because I think that's pretty cool. Because I think a lot more people are good in the world. Where you might be surprised if any single person were in that situation. I think a lot of people would be inclined to do good with the money, but maybe not. Maybe I'm giving people too much credit. I don't know. But
you might be.
Let us know what you would do if money wasn't an object. And we will see you guys in the next video. Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Just did a double wave.